Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Tupper. It is Wednesday, March 20th, and I have got the truck unstuck, and I have got the truck running, but the trail that we travel around the farm is still muck and mud, and I will get stuck as soon as I got down there in the lower area, and so we're once again doing this from a sitting position in my SUV. And nevertheless, glad to have you with us. It's an exciting time, man. I mean, for a college basketball fan, it's a great time with the NCAA Tournament getting rolling in earnest tomorrow on Thursday with 16 games, NIT games last night. I even found myself flipping around and seeing what Indiana was doing in their game. They won. And the women's NCAA starting. I usually look in on that some. And yet we all understand not so great for Illini fans to once again be on the sideline twiddling our thumbs and without a real strong rooting interest. You never appreciate what it is to be in one of those 8 and 9 games or whatever until you don't have them for several years, and that's been the case. The end of the season, I mean, the season ended kind of with a whimper. When I think back on the season, I think about how this team, young team, battled to find its identity against a really difficult schedule, found it, had that stretch where they won 5 out of 6, beat 2 ranked teams, Michigan State and Maryland, won a true road game at Ohio State. We're talking about 3 NCAA tournament teams there. Tromped Minnesota, an NCAA tournament team, and really had that identity as a team that was causing great turmoil defensively and turning people over and scoring on the run the other direction and able to hang on and win some close games, and then they lost that. Why? Did they run out of gas? Did teams figure some things out about them? Did they, I can't tell you exactly. My biggest disappointments were I kept wanting more in-game development time for Tevian Jones and for Alan Griffin. I wanted to see that. I do understand that players have to earn that right in practice, that they have to earn the trust of coaches, that they can carry out assignments defensively, offensively. I get that. And yet those guys are the future, you hope. And, can they make a significant jump next year? I think they can, but I think a lot of things have to happen. I think everyone needs to return. And by everyone, I don't necessarily mean every single person on the roster. I don't know what's going to come of Anthony Higgs, who is still not practicing. He's working out with, the trainers and the medical people, and still in rehab. If he were to leave, I wouldn't count that as a major loss. Maybe a couple years down the road I would if he turned up somewhere and turned out to be great. But I'd feel awful if Tevian or Allen left. Io has to make his own decision. I've voiced my feelings that I think he needs more college seasoning. That's just my feelings. He and his family get to make that call. I think he's a very good player, and I think he has a bright future in basketball. I think, and I'm not just saying this because it would benefit the Illinois program, but I think he would benefit by another year of seasoning in college basketball. And then this offseason growth is going to be huge, and I think this staff is the kind of group that can help guys with individual skill development, with better understanding of team concepts. They are off right now, and then the school's on spring break. They will get another week off after students come back to class, which is, I believe, on March 25th. So they won't return until April the 1st. Which isn't that long, and then they'll have individual workout and skill development and get going again on that. That's just a critical time. The coaches are out recruiting right now. It's going to be important that Brad fills out this class. Hopefully he has an understanding of who's back, who isn't, and but we know that they have at least one scholarship yet to fill. Maybe that's a fifth-year guy. Maybe that's an undeclared freshman. Maybe it's a junior college player. Somebody to come in and make a difference in the rotation. And then this summer, don't forget, is their turn to go overseas. And they will go after summer school. They will be going to Italy. And that is a great opportunity to get a head start on things. You get extra team practices. You get to perform as a team. You get to remember what that's like. You get to improve on areas where you were weak. You know, Georgie, who I think was a phenomenon in that no one knew what to expect from him, and he became a really acknowledged talent in the post. Georgie has to become a better defender. And I'm assuming he will be, but it would be great if he was a really better defender. Everyone else has areas where they can improve and need to. So that is going to be terrific this summer when they go to Italy. And then, of course, to get off to a quick start next year against a more favorable schedule would be great as too. So, you know, I think it'll be interesting when Brad has meetings with the players when they get back about, you know, how he feels, how they feel, and get things going there. This is, what, month 24 for Brad on the job. You know, next year's the year to make a jump, and they need to do that. We're all tired and disappointed of not being in the tournament. I know people are disappointed and like to nitpick about this and that. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. You know, everyone's entitled to their feelings. Fans are invested in this thing. I think in the long run, it's better players and player development of the players you have. And I look at someone like Aaron Jordan. Listen, Aaron Jordan has my utmost respect. I really have a positive feeling about him and his contribution to the program in terms of him staying, him dedicating himself to the university, him giving everything he has. He's a guy who became the best Aaron Jordan he could be. And yet, if I'm being completely honest, you're not going to win at the highest level with Aaron Jordan and players like Aaron Jordan starting. Aaron has limitations. He did his best to play through them, and he turned some other areas into real strengths. The way he rebounded the basketball and hustled and dug after 50-50 balls and made plays like that, I give him all the credit in the world. But in the end, as you look around at the tournament, which really gets rolling tomorrow on Thursday, you will see a higher level of skill across the board. And I'm not talking about Duke, because that's at another level and then another level and then another level. But I'm talking about, you know, the 11 seeds and so forth. So, you know, hopefully they can do that. And the transfer thing is frightening. I see Jeff Goodman's got a list out where he's already identified 275 players. This is a new world that we live in. Players, particularly freshmen, it's hard for freshmen. They've played their whole life. They've been stars their whole life. There's very few freshmen that feel like they got enough playing time, that they made a big enough contribution. That's frustrating for them. And the solution for many of them nowadays is, well, I'll go somewhere else. And, you know, I guess I get it, but I wish there was a little more patience and willingness to come back and work on things and stick with it. So we'll see how all that goes, but so that's kind of where I am on all that stuff. Football practice begins on Tuesday, spring practice. I don't know. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to go over or not. We're limited to what we can see. You know, there'll be some last year was just Cam Thomas, the only scholarship quarterback. This year, at least, there's more than that. We're going to get to see M.J. Rivers. We're going to get to see Coran Taylor. We're going to get to see Matt Robinson. We will not get to see Isaiah Williams, who won't arrive until the summer and be there in August when training camp begins. But I'm hoping we're going to get to see Luke Ford, the tight end. There's not been a ruling on his eligibility that I'm aware of, and I'm certainly hopeful that he will be out there. I'm interested to see Vertus Brown, who sat out last year with a medical red shirt. And so, you know, we're going to see some things, but a lot of the talented players that signed with this rather small Lovey recruiting class, none of them will arrive until August. There's no early enrollees this year. So, we'll see what happens when football gets rolling there too. But so I guess that's it for now. Enjoy the tournament. I am going to. I picked my bracket. I don't even like to pick a bracket. I don't like to be a slave to my bracket. In the end, I don't care if my bracket is right or wrong. I root for good games and interesting stories and cool players that I knew very little about until this week. And if it blows up my bracket, I don't really care about that. I'm not going to be financially invested in my bracket. I'm barely spiritually invested in my bracket. I think my Final Four is Duke and Florida State and North Carolina and Tennessee. With Duke and North Carolina in the final and all ACC final. That doesn't please me to pick that. Those are just the two best teams I saw. And I think Duke's become more likable with Zion Williamson. I love watching him. I don't want to miss a game that they play because of him. And, so if he, I probably never rooted for Duke to win it all. And yet I root for this kid every game because he's that exciting to me. And yet, if somebody wants to come along and tear the bracket up as a long shot, more power to you. I'll probably start rooting for you. I see where Sister Jean is already out of the NIT. Loyola of Chicago lost. Welcome to college hoops, sister. Sometimes it's glory, sometimes it's agony. You know both of them now. So listen, have a great week watching the tournament. I appreciate it an awful lot. And we'll see you back here next week. All right. Bye, everybody.